God's chosen ones, let every word you're about to take in stir your soul like a trumpet blast at dawn. You have not stumbled on this message by accident or blind coincidence. There is an unseen hand that has guided your path to this very moment. And if you feel a quiver in your heart, an electricity in your spirit, trust that it is the voice of destiny calling. You are about to discover the ancient truth that your enemies, be they naysayers, adversaries, even dark spiritual forces, have no final say over your life. It is time to silence them with the divine power that pulses through your veins. If you claim that mantle of courage, type 777 right now. Yes, 777, as your public declaration that you stand ready to hear the clarion call of victory. Do it boldly, for it is a testament that you will not cower before any force determined to hold you back from your ordained greatness. Take a moment to breathe, to truly feel the gravity of where you are. Look back at all the nights you cried out for a breakthrough. Recall the days you felt overshadowed by circumstances that threatened to snuff out your dreams. Yet you stand here today, despite the weight of the past, the betrayals, the heartbreaks, and the illusions, still alive in spirit, still yearning for more. That longing you sense is an echo of your God-given purpose. You are a child of heaven, shaped by the Creator's hands for a calling that transcends the ordinary. Now is the time to awaken fully. The script of your life is entering a pivotal act where every plot twist will serve the triumph that your spirit has long hungered for. If this resonates like thunder in your chest, type 777 again, and let that triple-digit symbol be the rallying cry of your soul. Many of you have wandered through seasons of hiddenness, feeling misunderstood or overlooked. You might have wondered why certain battles always found their way to your doorstep, why you, seemingly the most unassuming of souls, bore the heaviest burdens. What you may not have realized is that your uniqueness attracted spiritual opposition that sought to extinguish the blazing light God placed within you. Enemies, whether disguised as petty antagonists, systemic injustices, or unseen forces whispering condemnation, have circled you, hoping to devour your potential. But here is the greater truth. No enemy can withstand the unstoppable power that God is about to release in your life. If you choose to believe that you are being prepared for something monumental, type 777 to proclaim that you have eyes to see beyond the illusions and ears to hear destiny's roar. This divine confrontation you're entering is not a typical battle. It's not about physical weapons or earthly might. It's a clash of spiritual truths and eternal purposes. Your role in it demands courage, unwavering faith, and a heart that stands firm in the knowledge of who you are in God's eyes. Understand, you have an inheritance that goes beyond finances or temporary accolades. You have access to the heavenly armory where the weapons of faith, love, wisdom, and perseverance are stored. Through these, you will silence the mocking voices that say you are unworthy, unqualified, or out of time. When you arm yourself with divine power, the storms that once threatened to undo you become the very winds that propel you toward your destiny. If you're ready to take your place in this cosmic alignment, type 777 once more, sealing your commitment to rise in glory. Now let's talk about the deeper reason enemies appear when you step into your calling. Often the presence of opposition is a sign that you carry something valuable, something that darkness fears. Just as a thief targets treasures, Adversity targets your potential. Whenever you take a step closer to your divine mission, negativity or conflict can surge like floodwaters. However, you must never forget that God is not idle during your hardships. He is shaping your character, fortifying your spirit, and teaching you the strategies to stand firm in faith. So every trial you've endured was a training ground. Every heartbreak served to deepen your capacity for empathy. Every setback taught you resilience, and every betrayal sharpened your discernment. If you are ready to transform your past pains into a fortress of wisdom, type 777 to declare you will no longer be a victim of your history, but a victor writing a new chapter. Picture a turning point in your life, where the voices that once shouted your limitations fall silent. Their arguments crumble in the presence of divine truth. Maybe a teacher or a family member once scoffed, telling you your ambitions were foolish. Perhaps an ex-partner told you that you'd never find real happiness. Or maybe your own mind became your biggest enemy, whispering that your best days are behind you. But now imagine watching all those words dissolve into nothingness as God's promises ring louder. You see, once you align with divine power, no insult, no negative prophecy, no condemnation can hold you hostage. In the moment you fully embrace your God-given authority, you become unstoppable. If you can already feel the chains of old words snapping off your spirit, type 777 and visualize each digit shattering the curses spoken against you. Yet you must also be prepared for the radical shift that occurs when you move in divine power. People who once tolerated you may suddenly grow uncomfortable. Light exposes darkness, and your newfound radiance can illuminate the shadowy corners of others' insecurities. Friends might distance themselves, not because you did anything wrong, but because your growth challenges their complacency. Family members might question you, feeling unsettled by your refusal to stay small. This is a necessary separation. Never apologize for outgrowing a season that no longer fits the greatness stirring within you. The same God who births your potential will guide you in finding relationships that celebrate and nourish your rising. If you're ready to accept that sometimes elevation requires letting go, type 777 to confirm that you will trust God's pruning process. Now let's delve into what it means to silence enemies with divine power. We're not talking about petty arguments or lashing out in anger. The strategy is far more profound. When God's Spirit operates in you, you can address your adversaries with love, firmness, and authority that melts their hostility. You stand tall and speak from a place of unshakable identity, not from wounded pride. Think of David confronting Goliath. David didn't rely on King Saul's armor, nor did he cower before the giant's threats. He simply declared that his power came from the Lord, then took one smooth stone and triumphed. That same spiritual principle is alive today. Your stones might be your prayers, your integrity, your kindness, your unstoppable perseverance. Cast them with faith and watch every mocking giant fall. If you're ready to operate in that level of faith, type 777, symbolizing the stones of your spiritual arsenal. You may wonder, but how do I know if I truly have that power? The answer is simple yet life-changing. The moment you surrendered your life to the divine call, heaven placed a seal upon you. You are not fighting for victory. You are fighting from victory. Christ's triumph over darkness is the unstoppable current that flows through you. However, you must activate this power by believing and walking in it daily. It's like electricity in your home. Unless you flip the switch, the potential remains dormant. So speak truth over yourself. Pray with conviction. Refuse to let fear choke your dreams. If you accept that the greatest obstacle is often our own doubt, type 777 as your vow to let unwavering faith replace every shadow of self-limitations. Think of how eagles soar high above the storms. They don't flail in the wind, they harness it, gliding gracefully. Similarly, God is inviting you to rise above the chaos that used to intimidate you. Enemies may still shout from below, but their voices fade into insignificance at your new altitude. This shift won't happen by your might alone. It's a divine transaction where you yield your burdens and accept the gift of spiritual wings. Each day you ascend further, leaving behind the oppressive gravity of negativity and despair. If your heart leaps at the image of soaring over every limitation, type 777, affirming that you are done walking in the mud of doubt when you were born to sail upon the winds of destiny. Your testimony will soon become a powerful weapon in silencing adversaries. When people see the transformation in your life, the renewed joy in your eyes, the unstoppable passion driving your actions, they will marvel. Even those who once attacked or doubted you will have to reckon with the evidence of your faith. Your life becomes a living sermon, proclaiming God's goodness louder than any sermon from a pulpit. No enemy can refute the tangible changes they witness in you. They might attempt to fabricate lies, but the aura of truth around you will outshine their falsehood. Type 777 if you are prepared to let your life's fruitfulness speak louder than any words. Now, be aware that as you rise in glory, you will attract not only divine favor but also heightened opposition. The more you shine, the more darkness tries to extinguish your light. But do not let this frighten you. Trials are often a confirmation of your progress, proof that you're disturbing the realms of darkness by stepping into your purpose. Consider each attack an opportunity to exercise your spiritual muscles. Like a warrior perfecting their swordsmanship, each conflict pushes you to hone your faith, character, and resolve. If you're committed to seeing every challenge as a stepping stone, type 777, showing you will not retreat but press onward until victory is fully manifested. Let's also speak about humility. True divine power is never fueled by ego, but by service and compassion. Yes, you are chosen. Yes, you carry an anointing to silence the enemies in your life. But never let arrogance creep in. The moment you begin to think it's all about you is the moment your spiritual power can be compromised. Christ himself kneeled and washed the feet of his disciples, demonstrating that the greatest leaders are servants first. Keep your heart bowed in reverence to the one who grants you victory. If you promise to maintain a posture of humility even as you ascend, type 777 as a covenant that your heart remains pure and gracious. Practical wisdom is also crucial. You can't simply brandish your spiritual authority without living responsibly. Pay attention to your words, your daily habits, your relationships. Sometimes the reason adversaries gain a foothold is because we open the door through careless speech, compromised integrity, or unwise alliances. Listen to that inner nudge, a gentle warning, a hesitancy, or a sense of conviction that you need to correct something. That's often the Holy Spirit guiding you away from pitfalls. If you commit to a life of continual self-examination and alignment with godly principles, type 777. Let it echo your willingness to remain vigilant in your day-to-day life. We must also address the power of declaration. When you speak truth over your situation, you release creative force. Life and death are in the power of the tongue, says Scripture. So declare daily, I am victorious, I am favored. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. My enemies cannot stand against divine power. These are not empty mantras. They are seeds of faith that take root in the spiritual realm. If you slip into negative speech, complaining, gossiping, or cursing your own future, you undermine the fortress you are building. Let your words be consistent with the destiny you claim. If you're ready to master the language of victory, type 777, affirming that negativity shall no longer pollute your speech. Some of you have been wrestling with hidden struggles. Perhaps you look successful on the outside, but internally you battle anxiety or persistent self-doubt. These hidden battles often provide the greatest breeding ground for the enemy to sow fear. Today, shine a spotlight on that darkness. Confront it with truth. If you've been afraid to open up about your struggles, realize that transparency can be the key to your freedom. Seek counsel, prayer, or even professional help if needed. That is not weakness, it is wisdom. If you choose to bring hidden pains into the healing light, type 777 as a sign that you're breaking the cycle of silent suffering. Take a moment to envision your life after you have stepped into the fullness of this divine power. You wake each morning with clarity, aware that no external force can derail your journey. When you go to work, you carry an atmosphere of peace and authority that influences everyone around you. Family dynamics start to shift as the light in you gradually transforms your household. Even your finances begin to align with your calling, not because you're chasing money, but because blessings naturally gravitate towards someone fulfilling their divine assignment. Picture that feeling of joy, that unshakable conviction that you are exactly where you need to be. If this image resonates as the reality you desire, type 777 to align your spirit with that vision. During this transformation, you'll also be entrusted with new assignments. You might sense a call to mentor others, to create a new business that serves the community, or to step into a leadership role you once felt unqualified for. God will not only equip you, but also connect you with the right people and resources. Doors you never knew existed will start swinging open. Yet each open door also carries responsibility. Will you step through it courageously or shrink back? If you vow to say yes to the new territories God places in front of you, type 777 as a bold agreement to go where He leads. We should also talk about healing old wounds. Sometimes the biggest enemies are not external, they are internal illusions shaped by past traumas. A father who never affirmed you, a friend who betrayed you, a heartbreak that left scars on your confidence. These memories can replay like a broken record, feeding the lie that you're somehow disqualified from greatness. But the divine power that silences external enemies is the same power that can silence the torment within. In prayer, in reflection, in the quiet hours of dawn, open your heart to God and ask for that healing. Dare to believe that you can be whole once again, that your past no longer dictates your future. If you long for emotional freedom, type 777, declaring that you cast every chain of hurt at the feet of the Almighty. Another significant aspect is learning how to celebrate victories, even the small ones. As you watch your enemies fall silent, whether that enemy is a negative coworker or a nagging sense of inadequacy, take time to rejoice. Gratitude is a multiplier of blessings. The more you thank God for each triumph, the more your faith expands to embrace even bigger miracles. If you refuse to move forward with a complaining spirit or an attitude of entitlement, type 777, promising that each victory will be an altar of praise where you remember God's goodness. Now expect the unexpected. Divine power doesn't always operate according to human logic. Doors may open in ways that seem strange or ill-timed by worldly standards. Perhaps you get laid off from a job you thought was secure, only to find a better opportunity waiting around the corner. Or you might meet a stranger at a coffee shop whose one conversation changes the entire trajectory of your life. Remain flexible. Don't box God into your human timetable or preconceived notions. If you vow to keep your spirit open to the miraculous and the unconventional, type 777, acknowledging that you welcome God's surprises however they may unfold. In the coming days, you may experience unusual spiritual sensitivity, dreams that carry messages, sudden insights that illuminate a problem, or an urgency to pray for someone at a random moment. This is your spiritual radar intensifying. Honoring these prompts can lead to significant breakthroughs, not just for you, but for those in your sphere of influence. If you decide to heed these spiritual cues instead of dismissing them, type 777, signifying your agreement to work in tandem with the divine flow. Some of you might be worrying about how to handle the attention that comes when enemies are silenced and your light shines brighter. Remember, you're not called to chase applause or recognition. Whether your audience is 1 or 1 million, remain focused on your mission. The real measure of success is obedience to God's call, not the size of your following. Let your integrity and service be your guiding metrics. If you commit to ignoring vanity metrics and focusing solely on faithful stewardship, type 777, letting that be your anchor against the temptation of ego-driven pursuits. As you continue to walk in this power, be mindful of rest. Even the greatest warriors need a place of recharge. Prioritize your relationship with God, spending time in quiet reflection, worship, and meditation on His Word. The presence of the Almighty is your oasis, the wellspring from which your energy and vision are renewed. Burnout happens when we try to do God's work on human fuel, but divine power is sustained by abiding in divine presence. If you vow to schedule moments of stillness amidst the hustle, type 777 to confirm that you won't sacrifice your intimacy with God on the altar of busyness. Watch carefully as your perspective changes. You will start to see possibilities where others see dead ends. Problems that once terrified you become stepping stones. Criticism that once shattered your confidence becomes background noise. It's not that the world around you morphs into a utopia, it's that your faith grants you a lens of victory. If you're ready to perceive life with the eyes of an overcomer, type 777, affirming that negativity no longer has the final say in how you interpret events. As you silence your enemies, also be prepared for your message to resonate with the overlooked and the marginalized. Often, those who have faced severe opposition carry a special compassion for the hurting. You may find your heart drawn to encourage those who are battling their own giants. This empathy is not accidental. Your scars became your credentials, a testament that you overcame through divine empowerment. If you sense a stirring to mentor or uplift others who are in the pit you once occupied, type 777 as an oath that you will pass on the torch of hope. Remember to guard your gates, your eyes, ears, and heart. Choose uplifting content. Refrain from indulging too much in negativity or sensationalism. The environment you create around yourself can either nurture or stifle your spiritual growth. If friends or media flood you with toxic narratives, politely yet firmly remove yourself. Divine power flourishes best in an atmosphere of purity, hope, and faith. If you promise to cultivate an environment where your spirit can thrive, type 777 as a public sign of that boundary. Let your posture in battle be a posture of grace. Some enemies might come disguised as well-meaning critics, while others may be genuinely malicious. Show no hatred, for hatred corrupts the hater more than the hated. Instead, stand in righteous authority. Let your words and actions reflect the truth that while you cannot be defeated, you also refuse to stoop to bitterness. This graceful stance confounds the darkness, for it relies on love's superior power, not on retaliation. If you choose to respond in love rather than revenge, type 777, marking your refusal to let negativity define your responses. As your anointing grows, you will discover that what once seemed impossible is now within reach. Perhaps it's writing that book, launching that non-profit, traveling to a place you've always dreamed, or reconciling with someone you feared was lost forever. The key is to keep your spiritual ears open. The instructions may come softly, like a whisper in your heart. When you sense that divine nudge, act quickly. If you vow not to procrastinate on God's instructions, type 777, symbolizing your commitment to immediate obedience. Be ready for surprises in the realm of provision. What once cost you great toil may now flow effortlessly. This isn't about laziness or complacency. It's about stepping into the slipstream of grace. You'll find that your gifts make room for you, and the resources needed for your calling manifest at the perfect time. If a door remains closed, trust that it's not your door. Move on without resentment, knowing a better opportunity aligns with God's plan. If you pledge to remain calm and faithful when one avenue shuts, type 777, illustrating your confidence in God's timing. Take care to never elevate the battles above the blessings. Yes, warfare is real and enemies can be relentless, but keep your eyes primarily on what God is doing, not on what the enemy is plotting. Magnifying problems only inflates your sense of defeat, but magnifying God multiplies your faith. Whenever negativity starts to overshadow your mind, quickly pivot to praise, recounting God's past faithfulness. If you vow to keep your perspective aligned with victory rather than victimhood, type 777, letting that be your recentering in moments of doubt. Finally, let us proclaim, you were born for a time such as this. No matter your age, background, or past mistakes, the hand of God can rewrite your destiny in an instant. Enemies might laugh or mock, but their words fall powerless when confronted by the unstoppable force of divine truth. You are a vessel of that truth, carrying it into every sphere of influence, your workplace, your family, your community, and beyond. If you accept this commissioning, type 777 as your irrevocable yes to walking out your calling in full measure. As you read these final lines, know that a cosmic shift is happening within you. A holy fire is igniting, dismantling every excuse, every fear, every lingering regret. That fire is your permission to step forth as a warrior of light, armed with faith, robed in grace, and led by the Spirit. Your enemies, both internal and external, are about to witness a power they cannot comprehend or resist. You will rise, not in your own strength, but in the unwavering might of God. Go now with your head held high and your spirit unshakable. The world will see the difference, and they'll know it could only be by the hand of the Almighty. When that moment comes, silence your foes not with vengeance, but with the radiant display of a life transformed, an undeniable proof that no darkness can snuff out a chosen one's glow. Comment 777 one last time if you receive this word with all your heart. Make it your banner of faith, your defiant cry that you will not be subdued. The next chapter of your life begins now. Enemies that once tormented your nights will shrink before your dawn. Walk onward, beloved of God, and watch as heaven itself moves on your behalf. A new day is here. The battle is won in the realm of the Spirit, and your victory is set to break forth in the physical. This is your heritage, child of the King, to speak and see mountains bow, to pray and witness storms calm, to stand and see enemies flee. You are chosen, you are empowered, you are unstoppable. Let your life blaze with the glory that silences every voice of doubt. So be it, now and forevermore. Oh,